Hello. This is the second and final part of my rating Sims kind of trilogy, I suppose. Today we are looking at the right side of my family tree, and this is the Forgotten Realms Legacy Challenge. In the previous part we went over the right side of the family tree, so I'm only going to do a brief explanation of what this tree is. We have two sides. The right side of the family tree is just a normal legacy, and the left side of the family tree is the Forgotten Realms Legacy Challenge. The Forgotten Realms Legacy Challenge is a challenge based off of D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, so expect some nerdy stuff to be going on. In the previous part, I did also say it was 10 generations in the intro, which is simply not true. It's 12 generations. If we count them properly, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That one we haven't started yet, so that's not 7. This one we didn't play with, and then this one is the founder, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 generations. I've been playing the Forgotten Realms Legacy Challenge for about a year now, and I'm halfway through. It's a 12 generation long challenge. I don't expect to be finishing it anytime soon, so don't expect any more of these videos for a while at least. I am very, very fond of these Sims. I think these are some of my favourite Sims I've possibly ever played with, so if you insult any of them, you will have to fight me. I'm sorry, it's gonna happen. You're gonna have to fight me. Also, I may actually pronounce some of their names wrong, because I did pick there are a few Welsh names in here, and listen, they're my Sims, I can pronounce their names how I want, thank you. Trigger warnings are the same as the previous part. This is not a safe, fun, family-friendly tree. This is a chaos tree. It involves lots of bad behaviour, possible misdemeanours, other things such as miscarriage and bad parenting, probably, most likely. Lots of Sims not making it, etc. So you are watching at your own risk. I've warned you now that is it. Let's just get right into the first Sims. These are not important Sims. We went through these two at the top in the previous part, so we're skipping right past them. Over to this side we have Walter Ember, the golden child lad. He went on to have a daughter, Lexi. And then Lexi Daniel, Walter's only child with Autumn Bellow, a Sim I made pulled from my library with MC Command Center. No idea where the last name came from. Maybe she hated both her parents and changed it on her own. You go girl, break toxic cycles. So neither of these Sims are particularly important. Moving on. This is the founder of this side of the family tree. I did not call him Zaiden. He was born from MC Command Center. I would never name my Sim Zaiden. Sorry to any Zaidens, but it's the truth. But I kept his name because, I don't know, I'd like authenticity. Zaiden Ember. Zaiden never felt like he was enough in his family, his brother being the golden child. Once he was old enough, he got as far as Jesus Christ. How many times am I going to not be able to speak? Once he was old enough, he got as far away as he could, brackets, a new safe file lol, to follow his passion for music. He moved into a humble abode in Del Sol Valley with nothing but big dreams and 257 simoleons. He dropped out of school and immediately began networking. He met Penny, a rising star at the Humour and Hijinks Festival, and began working his charm. He may have been a tad too charming though, as she died of laughter. Racked with the guilt of immediately causing someone's death as soon as he left home, he took in her ghost as a roommate to try and make the afterlife a little more bearable. When he found out he got Morgan pregnant, brackets a one-night stand, and Mira soon after, he took over caring for both kids, as he didn't want to be the flirtatious bard stereotype he had become. Oh yeah, I probably should mention that each generation of the Forgotten Realms Legacy Challenge is based off of a class in Dungeons and Dragons, and he is a bard. He is a human bard. One day he came to an epiphany. The one he wanted was the one who was always by his side, Penny. He wooed her with his songs and they started dating. As soon as he found out she was pregnant, he immediately proposed. 3 days before his birthday, he... 3 days before his birthday, he drowned in a swimming pool. He drowned in a swimming pool because he's an idiot. Luckily, Penny successfully pled for his life, though he doesn't deserve it. He started taking his career very seriously and buckled down at work. The hustle eventually paid off as he maxed his career. In the final stretch, he began streaming his every waking hour to get more fame, lol. After a long, difficult journey, Zaiden finally became a global superstar, finally accomplishing his lifelong dream. Died of old age. Kiss. Morgan fires. Oh, we've seen a lot of Morgan in my 100 baby challenge. Rebellious, free-spirited Morgan met Zaiden at the Humour and Hijinks Festival, brackets. Yes, the same one where, you know, Penny, died. And she liked what she saw. She made some moves and ended up getting knocked up, brackets, both teens. She never wanted to be tied down to responsibilities and decided to let Zaiden be the primary carer for Ilya. Mira palicide, the other girl that got swept up by Zaiden's serenade and fell pregnant. And then finally, Penny pizzazz. Penny had just started her career as an influencer when she died at the Humour and Hijinks Festival, as Zaiden was just too funny. Her wayward spirit moved in with him, helped raise his kids, and slowly fell in love with him. She came back to life after wishing really, really hard and sliding a few simoleons over at the wishing well. She's an absolute beast and maxed her career and fame before Zaiden. The beta. Brilliant. So that's the first generation of this legacy. Moving on to the next heir, Ilya Ember. At a young age, Ilya had a fascination with nature and kept a frog collection, to the dismay of their father, who made them play the violin in hopes for another musician in the family. They joined the Scouts as a child and quickly reached the highest rank. They hated both his... No, that's not correct. Oh, I missed it. Ew, no. They hated that both their parents were celebrities, as paparazzi would often stake out their house. So as soon as they were old enough, they began skipping school and going on holiday to Granite Falls alone to collect insects and plants. On one of their explorations in the deep woods of Granite Falls, they met Paisley, who was a hermit living by herself. Their connection was purely physical and resulted in a pregnancy. But they were very amicable. Oh god, I never know how to pronounce that word.
Amicable.
Oh, that was loud. Amicable. But they were amicable about it, and she decided to reintroduce herself into society to raise her child. The next hermit Ilya met was Julius. Brackets, are we sensing a pattern here? They had a casual relationship in that they would only spend time together when Ilya visited. During the big family holiday, trademark, to Solani, Ilya invited Julius to join and found out she was pregnant, and she went into labour. It was twins, brackets, that I totally didn't cheat, haha. Ilya didn't intend on moving in with anyone, and Julius didn't intend on moving out of the woods, so they decided that Ilya would take in the babies. At a later age than they probably should, they finally moved out on their own to a quaint off-the-grid cabin in Brindleton Bay with their 2 toddlers, brackets, sorry Ashlie babes. That's the first kid they had that Paisley is raising. When the kids were old enough, they obviously joined to forest adventures. They raised a cow plant, Morgan, named after their mother. They never visit, lol. They also worked as a gardener all their life. Didn't know where to mention that, lol. After the twins moved out, they spent the rest of their life peacefully surrounded by nature because elves are immortal. Brackets headcanon. P.S. I moved Julius back in with them during Gen 5, so they weren't taking up 2 households, so maybe they reconciled, I don't know. So that is our half-elf druid generation. Ilya. I love Ilya. Paisley Coulter. Hermit. Julius Span. Ex-hermit. Next we're going to be moving on to extended family of our family tree. They are not as important, so we can go through them quite quickly. First off is Zaiden's second child, Ailey Blanco. Brackets, Nee Ember. Nee meaning her maiden name was Ember, so she changed her name to Blanco after she got married. Unlike her aspirations... What's her aspirations? Oh, Whiz Kid and Mansion Baron. Unlike her aspirations, she actually did quite poorly in school and never did her homework. She started working as a home decorator, but the pack was bugged as hell, so she didn't do well in that either, lol. She also struggled to find someone she was interested in dating until she eventually met Branson, brackets, hate his name, that's very mean, at one of her gigs and immediately had a crush. During the big family holiday, trademark, she invited him to join and they officially became a couple. They moved in together, brackets in Windenburg, as both of her parents are global superstars, so it's not like they couldn't afford it. As soon as I left them in their own household, Branson proposed, lol, cheeky bastard. After a bit of suggesting, they adopted a baby. Died of old age, as humans often do. Branson Blanco. Man loves his tank tops. He's an angel investigator in the business career. Level 10? Damn, we chose well. And then they had one daughter, Sarah Ember, adopted child of Ailey and Branson. I never did anything with her, so yeah. And then Zaiden's final child, Ira Ember. To be honest, I was a bit preoccupied to pay any attention to poor Ira, but hey ho. Ira met his boyfriend Jean. I'm gonna call him Jean. That's probably not how you pronounce it, but it's Jean, thank you. My name, my rules is Jean. Ira met his boyfriend Jean as a teen and they initially did not have good first impressions of each other. Ira thought he was weird and he thought Ira was egocentric, but Ira ended up accidentally flirting with him and he accepted it. He invited Jean to their big family holiday, trademark, and they officially became a couple. At a New Year's family gathering, Ira proposed, and they moved in together to Brindleton Bay the very same night. Oh, that's quick. They eloped privately and decided to have kids through surrogacy. The second time they had a surrogate, they got twins, lol. All kids took the name Ember for convenience as Jean kept his last name. Died of old age, haha. Jean Caliente. Ooh, a Caliente. Man's got a tail. Didn't even notice. No clue why, but this man outlived Ira by ages. Like he just didn't die. Merfolk immortal headcanon? Yeah. He is still alive in my game now, like 5 generations later. He's just chilling and Ira has been dead for so many generations. It's kind of sad actually. Moving on to their kids, Eleanor Barrera, nee Ember, surrogate baby number 1. She married Triton Barrera. I made him because I wanted Eleanor to have kids, lol. Their second child, Marigold Ember, surrogate baby number 2. And their third child, Muriel Ember, unexpected twin. Why? Eleanor is biologically related to Jean, whilst the twins are biologically related to Ira. And that is only important because they are merfolk and the rest of their kids and generations are also merfolk, so yeah. They went on to have 3 kids, Santiago Barrera, second cousin of Ilya, we will get to Ilya in a bit, Sienna Barrera, and Star Barrera. I wanted her to have kids, so I got her artificially inseminated with Michael Bell's, brackets, the NPC creature keeper, lol, kids. And then her 2 kids are Presley Barrera, third cousin of Elwyn, someone who we also get to later, and Liana Barrera. Lovely. That's our entire extended family done in a few seconds. Next we are moving on to our 3rd generation. I'm going to start with Ashlie because she is of no importance. Ashlie Coulter, the oldest child left to be raised by her mother. We don't care about her. Sorry, Ashlie. But then our next heir, Ennik Ember. She is a wood elf and a monk. She was technically born second as in second twin after Julien, but not second as in after Ashlie, because again, we don't care about Ashlie. But I'm putting her first for the aesthetic, as I want a female heir, and it's been too much of a sausage fest for real. Ennik had quite a lot of friends as a child, but she was always closest to her brother. Though she enjoyed the family camping trips, her favourite hobby was always yoga. One time as she was practising yoga in front of the fireplace, she caught on fire. Couldn't extinguish herself due to being off the grid. Thought she was a goner for a sec. Luckily, Ilya managed to put her out, lol. Ennik and her brother moved out as teenagers. As much as they loved Ilya, they wanted to carve their own paths closer to society, aka Windenburg. They moved in with an elder, Ryka, who became Ennik's mentor. Ennik met her first boyfriend, Brett, on a dating app, and they immediately hit it off. They hit it off a little too well, in fact, as she got pregnant, brackets, as a teen. Brett was not about that and broke up with her. Luckily, she had a very supportive family. Between the stress of it all and not taking care of herself as much as she should, she ultimately miscarried. After, she devoted herself to spirituality and wellness. She quit her part-time job as a fast food server and became a retail employee instead. Upon becoming a young adult, she made yet another career change to education and got into her second relationship with an older guy, Charlie, brackets, hate his name. I don't hate the name Charlie, I just hate the way it's spelled with a Y, for the record, who she had met online. They dated for a while, but as it turns out, he had a wife and 3 children, so that was that. She confided the situation to her good friend Eduardo, and he, in italics, consoled her. The subtext being they, woohooed. They started dating shortly thereafter. They moved into a massive estate together after getting pregnant a second time, brackets, both planned, along with Julia and Teulia, brackets, we broke, lol. She had 2 more kids, brackets, first generation where all kids were planned, literally. Wow. This is the 3rd generation, and both the generations before had accidental pregnancy storylines. She had 2 more kids and mentored them in fitness when they came of age. She moved back into her old house when her kids were all teens to give them some independence, though Silas moved with her by choice. Ryka Starstrike. No, they did not date. Thank you. I just wanted to add her to the family tree as she deserves it. Brackets, I spent a long time making her. Lol. Ennik's mentor. She died of old age even though I checked MC Command Center and it said she had like 7 bonus days and the Reaper reaped her so quick I couldn't plead. I was so startled I cheated her back to life to check I had all her info correct. I then promptly killed her again. Rest in peace. She really did not last very long. Like, I spent so much time making her, and then she died so fast. Oh well. Eduardo Charm. Eduardo was resurrected by Julien after freezing to death as a child and became part of the siblings' friend group. He made the first move on Ennik, asking her for a non-exclusive relationship, but neither of them were seeing any other partners anyway, so they became exclusive. And he is a drow elf, by the way. Julien Ember, older twin. Julien misbehaved more than his sister as a toddler. As a child, he witnessed the death, brackets, freezing, of a teen and a child. He managed to plead and save the life of the teen, but the child died. The child, of course, being Eduardo. Knowing his grandfather managed to resurrect a ghost, Julien swore to do the same. He managed to find a very same wishing well his grandfather had used before him. Gave it a smooth 5,000 simoleons, and at once Eduardo was revived. As a teen, he bonded with his uncle Ira over their shared love of fitness. He began learning the violin, once again inspired by his late grandfather. He joined the athlete career. Jealous after seeing his sister get into a relationship, brackets, with his best friend no less, he went on a blind date, this is the generation of online dating, and met Teulia. She happened to like violin music, and your boy can play the violin. They got into a relationship the same night. A few days later, he found a ring in her bag and boom, they're engaged. Once Teulia became an elder, they eloped and moved to Solani to enjoy the rest of the time they had left together. After Teulia died, Julien attended a Father's Day family get-together at the massive Ember estate, where he ended up overheating and died. He now haunts the castle as he has nothing better to do. Poor Julien. Teulia Ilya Ember nee Tilo worked as a conservationist. She was kind of boring, so I dressed her as a so I dressed her up as a cow. Lovely. Oldest to youngest siblings. Silas Ember. Silas was academically focused even as a child. He often gets into fights with his sister Ilya, as she wouldn't back down when he gave her attitude. He enrolled at Foxbury Institute as a teenager after a lot of dedication, doing a distinguished degree in psychology. Silas felt somewhat ostracised by Shiloh and Ilya. Though it was due to his actions, it still hurts feeling distant when all his other siblings were so close. At the end of his first semester, he moved with his parents back to their old house, brackets because I can't deal with Julien and active career at the same time, because he felt awkward living alone with his siblings. After graduation, he joined the military as a covert operator. Military? Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Shiloh Ember. Shiloh, aka the troubled artist of the family. Growing up with two of his siblings constantly bickering led to the unexpected alliance with his youngest sister, Emery. They were BFFs. He spent hours and hours drawing as a child, giving his drawings to his favourite sibling, of course, which translated into painting as he got older. Shiloh, being the timid little guy he is, was terrified of his older brother and would get very tense whenever he got near. Shiloh was basically an artistic prodigy and got rather famous from his paintings. After Ilya had her second child, Shiloh and Emery moved out to Oasis Springs into a house with their new roommate, Drew, who was Halle's cousin. After Drew's death, they also moved back home, brackets, so the household is together and cohesive, because they were willing to give living with Silas another shot and miss their parents. I'm going to skip our air for now. I'm going to move on to our youngest sister, Emery. Emery Ember. Emery was a bubbly social child who always left a great impression. Despite the tension between the siblings, she always made an effort to reach out to everyone and make them feel included. She followed the tradition of her mother, brackets gang V2, and great-grandfather, brackets gang, to start a club named Gang V3. At a Father's Day family get-together, her uncle Julien ended up dying by overheating. Emery tried to plead, but it didn't work. She worked as a comedian. And on to the heir of the generation, Ilya Ember. Named in homage, it's homage, isn't it? Of her great-grandparent Ilya, brackets, and because I just watched Devil Judge. Devil Judge is a really good K-drama, by the way, highly recommend. I've probably mentioned Ilya is a drow paladin. Paladins are holy warriors, so that explains what I'm about to say. What I'm about to explain about her story. Ilya's holier-than-thou attitude first began when she got into fights with her oldest brother, Silas, as a child. How could he be so horrible? She wouldn't let it slide and always challenged him when he was mean. She had a brief writing phase, but that didn't last. She dropped out of high school and skipped straight to working as a detective. How is that possible, you may ask? Well, blame police incompetence. Adult jobs for teens by Sparkly Murray. Around this time she became enlightened to the Watcher, an all-seeing god to whom she came to worship and receive blessings. After meeting her second cousins, Santiago and Sienna, she realised she wanted a big family one day. Among her co-workers she got on well with Hank and Yumiko? I don't know. I'm sorry. Who were both good like her. Though they had always been just friends, her feelings towards Hank, quotation marks. Did I say asterisks before? Those are quotation marks. Oh my god. Am I stupid? Oh my god. Her feelings towards Hank began to change as she got older. She eventually confessed and the feelings were reciprocated. She didn't waste much time and proposed soon after. They got married, brackets, had an actual wedding at a cathedral. This is significant because I never do actual weddings because they're, weddings in The Sims are kind of boring. And moved in together like the next day, lol. During her second pregnancy, Hank, quotation mark, came out as Halle, but that didn't change much for their solid relationship. Ilya put her all into being a good mother, always tending to their needs and helping them academically while still balancing her career. Shortly after Halle's demise, she drowned in a pool whilst visiting her second cousins, lol. Rest in peace, best known for her obnoxious baby naming system. Halle Ember nee Scott, Ilya's co-worker, a fellow police detective formerly known as Hank. Halle always had an inkling that she didn't align with the gender she was given at birth. but due to many reasons, pushed it away and tried to ignore it. Finally, whilst Ilya was pregnant with their second child, she came out to Ilya, brackets being a saint and all. She was very supportive during her transition. Even as an elder, she would exercise to near death because she doesn't know how to take a break. Lived to see all kids reach childhood before kicking the bucket. Brackets, I forgot she was an elf and let her die of old age. Haha, oopsies. Had them get married again when they were both ghosts. No. Those two ended up having 6 children. I would never willingly have 6 children. However, one of the rules is you need to roll a d6 to see how many children you have for each generation. I think I might have rolled a 4, and in the rules it said you have to add 2 to the roll you got, so 6 in total. We are going to start with the oldest of the 6th generation, Arwyn Ember. Arwyn was a studious child whose personality was a little off-putting to some, perhaps due to living in Silas's old room, and he caught his vibes, lol. But he was still close to his family. After getting gifted a laptop for his birthday, he got sucked into gaming, which shortly led to modding and finally programming. I'm going to skip our heir and do his siblings first because there are too many. Islwyn Ember. Islwyn took interest in the old microphone stand left behind in Emery's old room, though unlike what it was previously used for, Islwyn used it to sing. Olwen Ember. Olwen always favoured Halle and was not afraid to show it. She would always beg her to play football or simply watch her work out. Tanwyn Ember. Tanwyn adored the floral arrangements Elwyn made, more so in the flowers themselves than the arrangements. Rhonwen Ember. Rhonwen was gifted a camera and took up photography. She was the only kid who didn't graduate with an A. Lol. And then the heir of this generation, Elwyn Ember. Elwyn grew up with 2 amazing role models. He wanted to be as loving and caring as them. And though he didn't inherit their fighting spirit, they knew that his path was his own. He joined the Scouts as a child, inspired by his parents' dedication to the community. He grew up in Shiloh's old room that was still filled with art supplies and paintings, and found a love in art, though he preferred digital after fishing up a digitalistic sketch pad. Brackets. He also started flower arranging. Ilya managed to successfully convert him into joining worship of the Watcher when he was a teen, which he was pretty chuffed about. By the way, he's a cleric, which is like a healer. Sakai, I don't know. But basically he's an albino drow and all his siblings are drow. He met Celeste at school and was struck by her beauty. After hanging out a few times, managed to ask her out at the Bluffs, and they had a sweet late night pool date after failing to plead for his mother's life after she drowned. Oh. He knew he wanted to dedicate his life to saving others. He became a doctor straight out of school, proposed, and found out she was accidentally pregnant, brackets, condom broke. This time it was like a genuine accident though, because in my previous like accidental pregnancy storylines, it was like I was causing them to accidentally get pregnant, but this time it was genuine. Like the mod did this, like the condom broke on its own. I had no intention of her getting pregnant at that time. So they moved in together in Mount Komorebi, brackets, took Julien's ghost too, lol. That's kind of them. He took his grandfather's ghost with him as he moved out. That's sweet, I guess. They got married in Elwyn's shrine/temple/worship place that he built in the back garden. During both of his kids' births, he had just started his shift, so he had to watch his wife give birth and then immediately start treating patients. After his wife passed, he continued to diligently dedicate his life to curing others. Oh, I didn't actually set them as married. Why? They're married though. His wife, Celeste Knight. Celeste met Elwyn in school, brackets, her name is literally Celeste. That's perfect for the race I wanted her to be, so I really had no choice. I wanted her to be a Shidari, by the way, which is a celestial being. After asking her to follow her dream career, she wanted to be a chef. so there was constant family gatherings to use up all the food being made. She got fired after skipping work to cater a celebrity event, so even more food at home and even more family gatherings. She eventually got a job as a chef again, but only made it to level 5 of her career before dying of laughter, cough, immediately after woohooing with Elwyn, cough, 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 and pleading didn't work. Not a good way for a literal celestial being to go, but here we are. Unbelievable. Why is it that when I purposefully make Sims immortal, they drop like flies? All my other Sims die of old age. Hello? It's mind-boggling to me. And then finally, our current generation, the 6th generation, will start with our brother, not heir, Micah Ember. Micah was gifted his first snowboard as a child and fell in love with the sport. As he got older, he would go snowboarding with his neighbour, Jay. After being friends for a while, they realised they had a mutual attraction to each other, and things went from there, lol. He didn't do well academically, as he spent all his time either on the slopes, rock climbing, or with Jay. I love this bunch of pixels more than I love the actual heir, more than I love myself. He would autonomously help his brother with homework and his mother cook. My heart, but mainly because of his hair. After one failed attempt, he and Jay managed to successfully climb Mount Komorebi, not before giving Jay his potion of prompt resurrection, brackets gifted by his dear brother, as the one he initially intended for Jay failed. That's so incredibly sweet, and I did that on purpose because they are so cute. At the peak of the mountain he proposed and Jay said yes. It was magical. I do. The problem with this generation is that I enjoy playing with Micah more than I enjoy playing with Atlas, which is the actual heir. Jay Bailey, Micah's snowboarding buddy turned boyfriend, love his hair. I gave him like a little mullet thing and I love it. I love it. Now the actual heir of the generation, Atlas Ember. From a young age he could tell that he inherited his mother's powers, unlike his brother. He started his crystal collection early by simply purchasing them online for 1,771 simoleons. Brackets, without parental permission, of course. He truly is a genius, mastering the logic skill as just a child. He skipped high school and went straight into becoming a secret agent. Bracket, headcanon, he got recruited somehow because his IQ is way above average. Okay. He got himself a raven familiar called Ro. His working life did not last long as he was promptly fired for exposing a coop or something. Brackets, thank you, chance card rule. So yeah, one of the rules for this generation is that every time you get a chance card you need to pick at random what the outcome is going to be, and I picked the outcome that would get him fired from his job, but he used the opportunity to briefly join the scientist career, brackets, for the crystals. I had to complete the crystal collection for this generation, which is a nightmare. And now, a tale of two Atlases. After a spell gone wrong, Atlas donned a hot dog suit, aka Hot Dog Atlas. He then duplicated himself, creating Gonzalo, aka Gonzalo Atlas. Hot Dog and Gonzalo were locked in a vicious battle for knowledge until Hot Dog completed his spellbook. Then they made up and became friends until Gonzalo's last moments existing. The end. After, brackets, finally completing the crystal collection, he quit and started working as a secret agent again. After losing his mother, Atlas began to close himself off, the only people he interacted with being his father and brother. That's sad. He's a Celadrin sorcerer, by the way, I forgot to mention that. Avery Rind. I made her specifically for the purpose of procreation, lol. She's a strong, independent woman who wanted to have kids without the extra steps of falling in love. Yeah, I made a create a sim video on her. You can go watch that if you want. It's on my channel. Hee hee hee. So that's where we're at so far. What I'm planning for them is to have 4 children artificially, so they're not going to have an actual relationship, but they're going to have 4 children. And I'm going to leave Avery to raise them because Atlas is not supposed to have any relationship with his spouse or children, and he's not going to have a spouse anyway, so yeah, that's it. That's the entire family tree. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far, and for liking and subscribing if you have done those things. I hope you do. Truly, it makes my day. Yeah, well, that's all. I don't bye. Bye. Bye.